Hello gorgeous peeps, I'm Chris from TechSpert, and today we're going to be checking out the Medion Erazer Beast X30 to see just how beastly it really is. This almighty 17-inch gaming laptop is available from today from Amazon, overclockers and quite a few other online retailers, and while the £2,700 asking price ain't exactly cheap, this thing packs the kind of specs that makes most of the laptops weep from every orifice. It's not cheap, but it's still considerably more affordable than the Razer Blade and the ROG Zephyrus M16, which I recently reviewed, but still packs a wallop. So let's check it out, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first, I've got to say, the design of the Medion Erazer Beast X30 doesn't exactly scream premium quality. It's a pretty straightforward plain black finish, as you can see there, no frills or flair at all. And as you can see, a simple etched design for the lid as well, no RGB funkiness or anything to speak of. Of course, the likes of the Razer Blade also have quite an understated design, but this is even more simple and straightforward, and that might appeal to you. You might not want to carry around a hyperactive disco ball in your backpack. I do like the soft touch finish as well, which is actually pretty good at hiding greasy prints and scuffy, grimy marks as well. That said, the Beast X30 has picked up a couple of little marks and chips in the past few days, and I'm not really sure how, because it's barely even been outside of my house. Apart from that, it seems pretty resistant to punishment. It's a magnesium alloy chassis, so pretty rugged all around. And the most impressive part is it only weighs 2.3 kilos, which for a 17-inch gaming laptop is incredibly lightweight. For hooking stuff up to the Medion Erazer Beast X30, you've got a trio of USB 3.2 Type A ports, two of them here on the right edge. The other one's chucked over on the opposite side next to the mic and headphone ports. Unfortunately, one of the things I like the least about the Beast X30 laptop is it's just got a single USB Type C port, and it's hidden away around the bloody back of it. So ever so slightly awkward when you just want to hook up a peripheral on the fly, but at least it does have Thunderbolt 4 support, and this is also where you'll find the HDMI 2.1 port and that RJ45 Ethernet port. And then last up, a micro SD memory card reader, again over on the right edge. So it's kind of a shame that Medion has been quite so stingy when it comes to Type-C USB ports, especially as it's a 17-inch laptop. There's plenty of room, go and spare, that's for damn sure, but hey-ho. No real complaints at all when it comes to the quad-zone RGB backlit keyboard though. The travel isn't particularly deep, true, certainly compared with, again, some rivals that I've recently reviewed, like that Zephyrus M16 from Asus, but it's perfectly comfortable for typing. And unfortunately, there's no real separation between the main board and the numeric pad here on the right, so occasionally, if you are touch typing, you'll accidentally strike the numbers instead of the cursor keys or the enter key. At least the enter key is a proper double row effort. None of this pansy single row bollocks here. And of course you can fully customize that RGB goodness using the Medion Control Center, which comes pre-installed on the laptop. You can set the colors of each zone or choose from all kinds of funky effects, whatever you fancy. This setting right here is particularly good if you happen to have dropped some acid, just chuck on some happy hardcore, job done. The touchpad, however, impressed me less. It is nice and spacious, although it doesn't quite make full use of the rather wide palm rests, and it's reasonably responsive and everything as well, but the actual mouse buttons I found are quite unresponsive and just a bit janky really. Now housed just above the mighty 17-inch display, you have a full HD webcam, which is okay. It's not the best, to be honest. That resolution still looks a little bit grainy to me, and it can't deal super well with contrast, certainly not as good as some rivals again. But you do at least have full Windows Hello support via that webcam, got a bit of facial recognition so you don't have to mess around with pins or passwords. It's an infrared camera, so it even works in extremely low light as well. Now that almighty 17.3-inch IPS display is certainly one of the highlights here on the Erazer Beast X30. The Quad HD resolution, 2560 by 1440 pixels, keeps your games and movies and everything else looking super sharp. Lots of fine detail packed into every frame. The panel is uniformly lit, not the brightest on the maximum settings. It tops off at around sort of 370 nits, so you will struggle to see what is going on outdoors if you do venture to take this beast out there, especially as it isn't quite as anti-glare again as some of the competition. You got reasonably accurate color reproduction, 98% of the sRGB gamut, 74% for the Adobe. Viewing angles and everything, not a problem there either, and also it tops off at 240 Hz for the refresh rate, so nice silky smooth gameplay to complement the beautifully crisp visuals. The Medion Erazer Beast X30 also packs a pretty respectable stereo speaker output as well, certainly packs a hell of a punch when you bump it up to the maximum volume, but as always I would recommend when gaming slapping on a headset, getting that on the go. And if it's sheer performance you want as well, the Medion Erazer packs that in spades. It's powered by the Intel Core i9-12900HK, and that's backed by 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and that's arranged in two sets of 16 gigs of SK Hynix RAM. You can also stuff in up to Nvidia's GeForce RTX 3080 Ti GPU with 16 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. Although my review sample of the Beast X30 uses the RTX 3070 Ti instead. All the same, as you would kind of hope, this blazes through all of the latest AAA titles. Like some Doom Eternal, of course, ran perfectly on the absolute maxed out graphics settings. And as far as the cooling goes, well, the Erazer boasts 4 fan outlets plus liquid metal heat conductant paste for the internals. I did keep this laptop in turbo mode while I was gaming and also while I was benchmarking. I did find that the GPU temperature often hits around 80 degrees quite quickly, but then it stays pretty static after that. The coolant can deal with anything quite capably. The CPU temperature gets as high as around 90 degrees, but then of course the cooling system once again can cope with it at that level, keeps the core temperatures from shooting too high and keeps the laptop from throttling. Most of that heat is fired out of the back end and also towards the back end of these edges here, so it is kept away from your face and your hands while you are gaming. I did notice that the top end of the keyboard did start to get a little bit toasty after about an hour or so of gaming, but not to the point where my fingertips were being singed or anything. Of course, those fans do get rather noisy when turbo mode has kicked into full, but that's pretty standard again for a beefy gaming laptop like this. Hey, do you like benchmarking? You do? How splendid, because I've got bugger loads of it coming up right now. In Cinebench Release 23, the Erazer managed a single core score of 1587, multi-core of 16273, which ain't too far behind that ROG Zephyrus M16. It was a similar sort of story in 3D Mark as well. In Port Royale, the Razer Beast X30 spaffed out a score of 6743, while in Time Spy Extreme it came up with 5448. And this gaming laptop also absolutely smashed the stress test. You got a 98.4% result, and the Beast maintained a frame rate over 60 frames per second throughout, and it was pretty consistent as well. The best and the worst loop were almost identical. And I also took the liberty of doing a bit of Forza 5 benchmarking as well, and with everything maxed out in the graphics settings, this laptop kept the frame rate reliably above 60 FPS again, averaging around 65. And no worries for networking again, as you would expect. You got that Ethernet port if you want it. I've been testing out the Wi-Fi 6 slots on this thing instead, and online gaming and everything, not a problem. I'm a good 2 rooms away from my router, and I never found that connection stumbled or dropped once. As for your storage, you've got a pair of 1TB Samsung PCIe SSDs, and these are capable of respectable speeds, if not exactly the kind of thing that sets your pulse racing. We're talking 7 gigabits per second read speeds, 4.5 to 5 gigabits per second write speeds. And as for battery life, well, like most sizable gaming laptops, the Beast X30 doesn't do particularly well on that front. Certainly if you're blazing through a AAA title, it'll last maybe a couple of hours if you're lucky. That's about it. And of course on battery power, you can't make the most of the likes of the turbo modes. And that in a nutshell is the Medion Erazer Beast X30. And certainly if you don't have the 4-ish grand to stretch up to the likes of the Razer Blade 17, then this is a very worthy alternative. Still packs a hell of a punch. Not a perfect gaming laptop by any means, but it should do you for years thanks to the excellent specs that you'll find in this thing. And it is surprisingly slender and light considering it is a 17-inch monster. So that's what I think anyway. It'll be great to hear your thoughts on the Medion Erazer Beast X30 gaming laptop down in the comments below. Please do plug, subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a bloody lovely rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.